Begin recording.
Good luck with it. Thank you very much. Are we on while I'm finishing my dinner?
Not yet. Now we are.
You're live.
Welcome to the cooking show.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm moving back. I'm moving back. Let me just wipe the mud.
What kind of shenanigans go on here?
Who knows what he's been broadcasting, right?
We're all over your face.
Last week's person still wants to know what's the karma for a hot date?
Oh, you're going to just
The retirement home. We're going to have to teach you. Go to the nursing home.
Be a hot date.
Be a hot date.
That's a good one.
Okay, so Hector answered the question last week.
Yeah.
Right? The question online arose. Sorry, I'm finishing my dinner. I know you're not supposed to eat with your mouth full. All right, let me just put it there. Finish dinner after class. So, as Holy Geshe Michael said many times, right, the karmic cause for having a partner is helping those who are lonely. If we don't want to be lonely, if we want to have a quality person around, then we have to help those who are lonely by being quality company. Now, if we're just talking about woohoo, a hot date in that sense, I don't
think so. No, there was like, oh, don't put that on me. All fine, they're happy.
Bless you. Thank you. So the karmic cause for not being lonely is helping those who are lonely. The karmic cause for having quality companionship is being a quality companion. And so Holy Geshe Michael has advocated this in his partner talks for many a time. I don't know if that helps or not. Okay. That you find the hot date in the nursing home, right? Is basically it. By being a good person, a quality person, good company, and attractive, and interesting, and appealing to the people who are lonely. And then you'll meet someone who's attractive and appealing and interesting for you. Like that. Right? But you got to do it consistently. Okay. So where were we? Yeah. So we talked about after the bodhicitta ceremony, you feel really high. Then you come down a little bit. This feeling of I'm going to keep it clean, I'm going to make good efforts, I'm going to take it seriously, right? And then there's a third part, which is thinking about the rarity of what you did, what we've done. It's like, it's in the history of humankind, right? From caveman to now, what percentage of the people thought I'm going to live my life to help other people, Very, very, very small percentage of people. Very rare, right? A person formally committing themselves to spending the rest of their life helping others is extremely rare, and extremely rare to even hear about it, much less make the commitment, right? If you go out on the streets of New York and try to find somebody, who likes the idea and is game to sign on to spend the rest of their life helping others, it'd be a hard sales pitch, right? So. Trying to perfect myself and reach my own paradise so that I can lead other people to paradise, right? It's not your typical thought process. So, if people are who they seem to be, it appears to be extremely rare. So, Master Shantideva at this point in the text compares it to being like a beggar in India. If you've been to India, beggars there are not the same as beggars here. In India, they really only have the cloth that they wear. A well-paid laborer in India, a manual laborer who's paid well, gets paid daily, because if they're not paid daily, they can't eat. They get their money at the end of the workday, and they go to the market and buy their food, and they eat dinner. They go home and they cook dinner and eat dinner late in the evening, because they only have the food for the day. And that's a well-paid laborer in India. So people who are beggars, and people are scavenging for everything and recycling everything and looking for the smallest bits of metal and smallest bits of edible food, because it's the nature of the life there. And so a true beggar in India is quite terribly destitute and is scavenging among the rotten food and nasty food and foul food, and you see herds of wild pigs roaming about, and the beggars are looking through the nasty food with the pigs, hoping to find some scraps to eat or whatever the case might be, something of some value that they can help sustain themselves. So Master Shantideva says it's like being a beggar who comes upon a scrap of banana peel or a scrap of food, and they pick it up and there's this huge diamond underneath. Someone threw it away by accident. And you find this incredibly rare, precious thing that's going to totally change your life. He said, we're like that. That's what it is. That to be exposed to these ideas on bodhicitta and to know about this and to make this commitment is we're like a beggar finding a diamond. It's the same status and the same quality. It's time for a snack.
You found it. Just a matter of time before you found the food.
What a sweetie. Yeah. So it's not like you go outside and people are calling Ticketmaster to buy tickets to Bodhisattva ceremony, right? It's not our society and our culture is not like that. It's not like you have to line up to hear about these things and wait to get in, and there's so much demand that it outstrips supply. It's just not on people's minds. It's not of interest, right? So extremely rare, and it feels strange sometimes to actually have that attitude. Like when I walk around sometimes when I would be at work or whatever, and I'd be oriented towards helping people or thinking about Bodhisattva activities, and I feel like I've odd man out, like nobody else on the same wavelength. They're just somewhere else, and it felt and feels strange at times, to be engaging in Bodhisattva lifestyle because it is so different from the rest of the world and how the rest of the world functions and things. So all the more important to support each other, as sangha and as Bodhisattva warriors, right? To uplift each other and to offer encouragement and support to each other in our practice, that it is the right thing to do, and it is a beautiful holy sentiment, and to follow through and practice it and carry it out, and be there for each other in that way. It's very beautiful and very important, right? So think like that. So we have to think then about what bodhicitta is going to do for other people. Master Shantideva says. And he says, be happy about how you can help others by having bodhicitta, right? We should be happy because of how we're going to benefit from having bodhicitta, and we should be happy because of how others are going to benefit from our having bodhicitta, right? What are we going to be able to do for other people? And, he says, think about how you're going to be able to destroy the suffering of all those people first. And he lists five different ways in which you can do that. He says, look, if you have bodhicitta, you finally have some ammunition to help other people, If you're going out to try to actually help other people, now you actually have some tools and some powerful ammunition to actually go out and do something, right? So please say droe.
Droe.
Chidak. Jompa.
Jompa.
Droe means beings, any living creature, anyone that moves. Chidak means the Lord of Death, right? Which is that guy running around with fangs that we run away from, right? You see the pictures of him over on the Wheel of Life, right? Claws and fangs, and comes and visits at night, holding the Wheel of Life. Right? Lord of Death. Familiar with nasty monster? Right? Jompa is destroy. So what's this story, right? I mean, is it like some nightmare guy that Freddy that we run away from because he's like going to kill us eventually? No. I mean, where does he live? I mean, where's the Lord of Death? Inside you, right? I mean, he's inside you. The Lord of Death is inside of us, and he's been there since conception, right? Since conception and since we were born. And it's not about big fangs and fingernails and gnashing teeth. It's our own coming death, which is inevitably coming to us. That's the Lord of Death, right? The day we were conceived, that condition was created. The day we were conceived, the day we were born, the condition of having to die was brought into being, right? And it's getting closer and closer. And the commentaries say that it's like having like a rat or a creature inside you gnawing away at your insides minute by minute, chewing and eating a little more, and then over time eventually they hit something critical and then you die, right? I mean, they probably didn't have like Alien the movie back then, or they would use that as that metaphor in the analogy, right? You guys may be too young for Alien. I don't know. You remember Alien?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you get the idea. All right. So jumpa means you destroy him completely. Jumpa means you destroy him completely. So we have the Lord of Death. Is we're born with this condition of having to die, and so we destroy that condition. Right. So this goes back to what is Buddhism about, right? Is Buddhism about stress reduction or being a nice person, right? Did the Buddha say, I'm going to teach Buddhism so that people can be nicer in the world for the next however long? No. He said, Keganachi, right? I'll remove illness in people, right? I'll remove rebirth from people. I'll remove aging from people, right? I'll remove death from people. So, that's what the Buddha taught. And it's not about being a nicer guy or stress reduction or anything else. So this is the first benefit of for other beings of having bodhicitta is that you can destroy their death. You can save them from their own death, which is what the Buddha said his purpose and point was, right? To actually be able to stop death coming to other people. Now, is sitting in a bodhisattva ceremony 10 minutes or 20 minutes going to stop someone from dying? No. I mean, obviously not, right? Otherwise it would have happened. It'd be obvious, right? So, it begs the question, how do you go about doing that, right? How does that work, and how does that come about? If you're going to stop other people from dying, then you have to do what first?
Stop yourself.
Yeah, start with yourself, right? Deal with your own mortality and your own impending death. So, is it some kind of Buddhist delusion of grandeur to say that you're going to stop other people's death and to have not stopped our own, right? I mean, it goes back to you have to see emptiness, right? You have to see emptiness, you have to experience ultimate reality, because that is the basis for being able to attain enlightenment and put an end to your death before you die, right? If we're going to become enlightened before we die, we have to perceive emptiness and ultimate reality and use that as a basis for doing so, right? So, and so if someone is teaching about bodhicitta or emptiness, and they've had the direct experience of it, it's a much more powerful teaching, right? And so the idea is that we have to go and get this experience of bodhicitta, and then teach it authentically to lead other people to get it, so that they can put an end to their own suffering, right? So, it's not, and that's the whole point. It's not compassion doesn't stop people's deaths. Being a compassionate being doesn't stop anyone from dying. The Buddha had compassion, right? Had ultimate compassion. People still die, right? So, if someone in this room had stopped their death, if someone in this room had reached a state of deathlessness, would we be able to perceive it? No, not necessarily. Would they perhaps even appear to die to us? Yeah. Is that contradictory that they appeared to die to us, and for themselves they do not appear to die, right? I mean, no, because things are empty, right? Like being a victim, it's not one thing or another thing. And His Holiness, if he's Avalokiteshvara, when he looks down and he sees, matter, subtle matter, he sees a subtle body, a physical body which isn't made of molecules, right? He sees something completely different. He's looking at his body, having his usual extraordinary bliss, and just another day of paradise, right? So, it goes back to the nature of what's really there, right? Is a person really there? Is the Dalai Lama really a person, or is the Dalai Lama really like a Buddha, a holy enlightened being with this completely other form made of completely paradisical, body and mind and everything else, and which one is what's really there, right? So, yeah, I mean, it's the stuff that's there manifesting a Buddha. There is stuff there, and it has manifested something, right? There is something there, appearing as the Dalai Lama. And is it manifesting, is that stuff arising and manifesting as a human being? Or is that stuff arising and manifesting as a Buddha in paradise? For whom? It depends on who's looking, right? mean, if you remember our Chuba analysis from Proof of Future Lives, was it? You know, the cup of water, right? Who's looking at the cup of water and what they perceive? So there is stuff there. It is empty of self-existence, and it will be perceived as one thing or another according to the mind doing the perceiving. No contradiction to say, I am perceiving the Dalai Lama as a human being, and the Dalai Lama is perceiving himself as a being experiencing paradise. You know, and I could be perceiving the Dalai Lama, you know, no longer breathing or moving, and he could be perceiving himself continuing to exist as a being in paradise. So no contradiction. Okay. Okay. Please say uwa.
Uwa.
Jompa.
Jompa.
Uwa means poverty, spiritual poverty, physical poverty. And then jompa means to destroy. So this is the second benefit to others of your achieving, having bodhicitta. And then you destroy material and spiritual poverty, right? You remove the poverty of other beings. And you know how, right? I mean, the only way it could ever happen, right? The only way you could ever do it, you know? All the Buddhas, it's what they do. You get to paradise first, and you teach other people how to do it. And that's how you destroy their poverty, you know? You destroy people's poverty by getting bodhicitta, becoming enlightened, and then teaching them to do the same thing. That's it, right? The Abhidharma Kosha in the beginning, in the commentary by the first Dalai Lama, he says, Buddhas don't run around pouring water on people's head to help them. You know? And they don't run around touching people's head with their hands to help them. And they can't take away your bad deeds by waving their magic wand. You know, and they can't do any magical thing like that. They have to teach you. And you have to follow the teachings. And that's the only way. And that's the only way there ever was, and there will be. To do that, you have to get there. We have to get there first, you know. So that's number 2. Number 3, please say ne jompa.
Ne jompa.
Ne means illness. Jompa means you destroy it. So 2 kinds of illness: mental afflictions and physical illness. Right? Same as before. Same as the point above. Right? You have to do it for yourself first, and then you have to teach them how to do it for themselves. Please say cheer.
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 Duknel.
Duknel.
Jompa.
Jompa.
Cheer means in general. Duknel means suffering. Jompa is to destroy. To destroy suffering in general. To destroy the suffering of others in general. All of the other general kinds of suffering that exist. Every kind of suffering, just general. Okay. Please say kepar.
Kepar.
Nenson.
Nenson.
Gi.
Gi.
Duknel.
Duknel.
Jompa.
Jompa.
Okay. Jompa again, destroy. Duknel, suffering. Gi means of. Nenson is the 3 lower realms, and kepar means particularly. Okay. Oh, sure. Trying to finish by 9. 3 minutes. No.
Particularly 3 lower realms of suffering destroyed.
Kepar means more particularly. Nyensong means the 3 lower realms, and then the others are the same. Okay. 3 lower realms being
Health, cravings, spirits, and animals.
Yeah, and we can only perceive the animals with our senses. Right? So, you know, is the process of sitting there for 10 minutes in a ceremony for bodhicitta going to remove the suffering of the 3 lower realms? No, or it would have been done a long time ago, right? So, when we really get bodhicitta, then we're able to act it out. We're able to teach people, get enlightened, teach people, and lead them there. And it's the same over and over again, right? So then he goes on to say, not only do you eliminate these 5 sufferings for other people, and you should be happy about that, but you also eliminate the causes of those sufferings, the causes of all those sufferings. Right? And he says, look, you know, you can not only stop the sufferings, but the causes of the sufferings, you can wipe them out. And there are 2 causes, 2 types of things that create all the suffering of sentient beings: sickness, death. 2 causes for all the problems of the world. And there are 2 points in the reading, 2 verses in the reading addressing that. But basically, please say nyomo.
Nyomo.
It's a mental affliction, bad thoughts. And roughly the definition is any thought which disturbs your peace of mind. Right? So there are 2. Please say nyundrup.
Nyundrup.
Shedrup.
Shedrup.
So drip means disturbance of your mind. right? Mental obstacle, spiritual obstacle, two kinds. The Nyundrips are mental affliction obstacles. Defined as an obstacle which primarily prevents you from reaching nirvana, and secondarily prevents you from reaching Buddhahood. Okay? So they're stopping us, right? These are certain states of mind that we have which block us and stop us from reaching nirvana. Okay? If we could remove these obstacles, we would be in nirvana, right? Don't think of nirvana as some place you have to get to, right? Like something you have to develop. Nirvana is actually removing obstacles. You achieve nirvana by removing obstacles, by removing mental affliction obstacles. It's like nirvana is there waiting for you, right? You have the obstacles between you and it, and you remove the obstacles, and then you can experience nirvana, right? Mainly mental afflictions themselves, right? Highest school of Buddhism, Prasangika, Madhyamika Prasangika, says it's the tendency to see things as self-existent. That's the worst mental affliction obstacle. Okay, that's the ultimate obstacle to reaching nirvana is the tendency to see things as self-existent. Okay, and then the second kind of obstacle is Shidra, which is obstacle to total knowledge. Once you've overcome your most subtle mental affliction obstacles, you've reached nirvana. Okay, once you've eliminated your most subtle mental affliction obstacles, you have achieved nirvana. All right. On the Hinayana path, that means you've achieved path number 5, right? 5th path, no more learning. Excuse me, Hinayana track. On the Mahayana track, it's a little bit different. Nirvana, achieving the 5th path, and eliminating all of your mental affliction obstacles are all synonymous in the Hinayana track, right? On the Mahayana track, you do that on the 8th Bodhisattva Bhumi. There are 10 Bodhisattva levels that one progresses through in one's Mahayana career. And when one reaches the 8th Bodhisattva Bhumi, the 8th Bodhisattva level, then you, at that point, you've eliminated your last mental affliction obstacle, right? It's equivalent to attaining nirvana. But we're not done, right? So you wipe out the subtlest tendency to grasp the things as self-existent, which is nirvana. So, but then we have the second kind of spiritual obstacle, the obstacles to total knowledge. And these are obstacles that mainly prevent us from reaching what, do you think? Omniscience, right? I mean, we have, if you're enlightened, you have omniscience, right? The ability to perceive all things of all 3 times. Like if you can't see the other side of Mars right now, you're not omniscient, right? If you're omniscient, you see everything. So anyway, when you remove your obstacles to omniscience, then you become Buddha. And that happens on the 9th and 10th Bodhisattva levels. On the 9th and 10th Bodhisattva Bhumi is one is primarily working to remove their obstacles to omniscience. Okay? So after you reach nirvana, that's what you have left to do if you're on the Mahayana track. You attain nirvana on the 8th Bodhisattva Bhumi, and then you still have to develop your omniscience, and you're working on that on the last 2 Bodhisattva Bhumis. So for a Mahayana person, that's what you do there. Mainly working on omniscience. So you also destroy at that point the very, very subtlest seeds in your continuum to have things appear to you as self-existent once you reach that highest level. Okay. So Master Shantadeva's text says, look, you can be happy that you eliminate the causes of suffering too. I mean, you can be happy that you eliminate all those different 5 types of suffering, and you can be happy that you eliminate all the causes of suffering in other people too, as well as in yourself, right? So basically he's saying, the night that you get bodhisattva commitments, you have to think, this is great, I'm going to be able to stop people's deaths. I'm going to be able to stop people's sicknesses. And more importantly, I'm going to be able to stop the causes of those things, right? The 2 kinds of afflictions, mental afflictions, obstacles and obstacles to omniscience. So tendency to see things as self-existent, and the tendency for things to appear as self-existent to our mind. So we're thinking, I committed to stop these things inside other people's minds, and I feel happy about it. So ultimately, the point is to feel happy that we're finding out what causes suffering in people, in ourselves and in other people, and we are committed to removing that. We're committed to removing suffering and the causes of suffering, and we feel happy about it, right? It's some kind of sense of, after we do the ceremony of You know, I'm very lucky. Like nobody, virtually nobody does this. Virtually nobody thinks like this. Virtually nobody trains in this. Virtually nobody teaches this, you know. It's very fortunate to have the teachings. It's very fortunate to receive the vows. It's very fortunate to have become a new kind of person. And, you know, I'm going to eventually be able to teach people how not to die anymore and how not to suffer anymore. And that's an incredible, amazing thing. So it's some kind of special joy that we have to take at the end, where we can just feel like, you know, I'm going to be able to identify what's inside people's hearts and minds, and I'm going to be able to do the exact perfect thing, you know, because I can read their mind and I can see all things in all places and all times. I'm going to be able to do the exact perfect thing to end people's suffering, you know, and I feel really happy about that, and that's really cool, you know, and I'm really glad about it, and you know, and just sit with that, you know, sit with that and feel that. So let's just take 2 minutes to sit and feel that, and then we'll do our prayers, okay? See the holy being at the crown of your head becoming smaller and brighter and melting into your heart, blessing you to feel intense joy, intense happiness about all of your motivations and intentions, every single effort you've ever made. By the power of this goodness, may every single happiness grow and increase within myself and every other living being, filling all of space with its vastness, blessing the mind stream of every being to abide in ultimate bliss continuously forever.
Thank you for teaching.
Thank you for teaching.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Please keep teaching.
May the karma manifest for it to be so. May it all manifest perfectly and purely.